This clip is absolutely batshit. Dude, I mean, this is Trumpism, okay? This is the age of Trumpism here, where Jillian Michaels goes on CNN and she does a slavery both sides routine. She does a slavery, like, wasn't that bad? Not that many people in America owned slaves. I mean, forget that our entire economy in the 16, 17, and 1800s, everything that built the American empire was built on the backs of the enslaved. All those textile mills in the North, all of the tobacco that was both used in the North and exported around the world, all of that shit came from the enslaved, man. Like, it doesn't matter how many percentage of American citizens owned slaves. The fact of the matter was, America created an economy that was built on slavery, and everybody in America profited from this. And then eventually we had to fight a goddamn civil war to end this. And now this party that Jillian Michaels is a part of is trying to roll back the clock on that shit. Unfucking believable what we're about to witness. I mean, I'll be honest, guys. I don't know how somebody goes on national TV and tries to, like, yeah, it wasn't that bad, talking about slavery. I don't understand how a white person can even begin to engage in that line of thinking. The legacy of the families that were involved in slavery and the amount of wealth that they were able to pass down through the generations and how that wealth has grown and grown. Almost every affluent family has a connection to it. It's wild. I mean, it really is one of the major determinants of who possesses generational wealth to this day. And of course, the people of color, whether they were descended from slavery or whether they were born long after it and had nothing to do with it, the people of color still struggle to have any generational wealth to pass along. Why? Because our real estate, our financial, our judicial, our policing, our economic, every single system in America we have was founded on that enslavement, white supremacy, white power, white having the wealth system. So people of color have even, 150 years later, okay, 170 years later, they still haven't been able to outrun that legacy. But watch Jillian. This is crazy, dude. Mind-blowing.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that...
So they're talking about, I believe, the exhibits that are getting changed in the museum, the changing of how we view this slavery. Now, I want to pause right there because what Jillian said, you cannot tie slavery to just one race. In America, you can. Okay? American slavery was perpetrated by one race and one race alone. Okay? Period. Okay? And you can look at most slavery, okay? And it was tied to one race, okay? Predominantly. Now, you go to Africa and there was slavery there too, but it was very different in Africa because in Africa, slavery was a punishment for being conquered. So what happened in Africa was African tribes or nations warred, and the winning nation took the people that they beat as indebted workers. So they still had it and it was still there. Now, obviously, it wasn't white people because everybody there was dark skinned, but it was a little bit different because it was like winning a war and then enslaving the people they conquered. Okay, which, don't get me wrong, that is toxic as fuck and hideous too. But that is a far cry than actually taking people from another location and importing them to your area exclusively, right? Somebody that you've never even gotten involved with. And yes, it's like they industrialized it. Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. Like white people turned slavery into a business. They literally turned it into a fucking economic modality. And that is fucking something that, like, we need to fix that karma. But dude, she's defending this shit. I'm going to let the whole thing play. I just had to stop it there because she makes my brain melt. But look at her face in the beginning here, guys, when she talks about whitewashing slavery, and she like gets this smug grin on her face. Jillian Michaels does. Like, oh, it's like a scoffing grin. It's like, you know, the look on her face is gnarly.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like, he's
not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you
anti-slavery,
let's talk about the fact
that slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
Do you realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people.
Dude, she's talking to a fucking black man, like minimizing slavery to a fucking black man. The goddamn nerve, dude. What the fuck are we watching? Does it make your blood boil? Like, my blood boils when I fucking see this. And look at the arrogance on her face. She's got her chin out there. She is straight up like bottom of the fucking barrel, bro. Dude, the nerve. The fucking nerve. Oh my God.
Anti-slavery.
Let's talk about the facts.
Slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were.
Do you know who was the first race to try to end slavery?
Wait a second.
Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that?
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is that
in the context of American history,
okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that
it
was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad.
Yeah, well, Jillian, how about this? How about, like, yeah, white people bad. So how about white people stop being bad, okay? Right now, white people bad. White MAGA people trying to roll back the Civil Rights Act, roll back the Voting Rights Act, using dog whistles about racism, lying about them, the black people eating their pets. That's white people bad. You dumb bitch. Like, goddamn, bro. What the fuck, dude? White people bad doesn't mean white people can't be good, but it does mean we gotta stop being bad, right? You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop being bad, okay? For example, if I look at my history, my family history, okay, if I go back through my family, it's men bad. Okay, the men in my family, they were abusers. They were alcoholics. They were woman beaters. Okay, they were child abusers. Okay, men bad in my family lineage, right? That doesn't mean I'm bad. Okay, it was the fact of me acknowledging men bad in my generational trauma that got me to go to therapy, got me to get sober, got me to break that chain. So I didn't become men bad. But like, not being able to look at white people bad, not being able to look at men bad makes it so we don't improve, okay? We don't improve. And Jillian Michaels here is, you know, sitting here like on a panel with a bunch of black people who feel the effects of American white supremacy every fucking day. And she's like telling them, like, you know what? Like, why are you like holding the white people responsible for this? No, damn. Dude, what the fuck, man? She is really crazy. Like, can she not accept the fact that white people in America bad and be a white person who's not bad? I mean, is that not possible for her? And like, can she not look at like all the things that white people have done? And because the fact of the matter is Jillian Michaels has as much white guilt as anybody. White guilt is everywhere in America. And you are either aware that you experience it or you're not aware that you're experiencing it. And the people who are not aware that they're experiencing it, I think, are the people running around doing what Jillian Michaels is, which is saying, stop saying white people are bad, right? But it's like, stop being bad, Jillian, and we'll stop saying it. You know what I'm saying? Stop being bad, and we will stop saying it. But you're being bad. Oh my God, dude. I want to see the long form of this because I want to see the end bit. I want to see where she goes with this. All right, you ready? I'm letting this one play. I'm just blown away, though. I'm just blown away at the emboldened nature of white supremacists.
Slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like, he forgave
He's
me for
not
saying
whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No.
Okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you
United
look at
States.
let's talk about the fact.
I mean, slavery in America was a
Do you realize
system
that
of white
only
supremacy.
less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You
know,
realize that
African
slavery
Americans
is
were
thousands
slaves
of
and
years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race
I
to
didn't
try
realize
to
this was
end
controversial.
slavery?
Wait a second.
What was controversial?
I'm very surprised
This is
that
an
you're trying to
extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism. I would say.
I'm really
Historical
surprised.
revisionism. Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and
I'm
who
not.
was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is
in
that
the context of American history.
Okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by
I'm
saying
is
that
you
it was white
cannot-
people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door,
what exactly,
the first thing you see is a gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front of you.
Yeah, I do,
What
because I don't,
exactly
because here's the
are
thing.
you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sport.
Dude, so she jumped from slavery to transphobia? Like, what in the actual fuck, bro? Like, literally, she just went on that show to be transphobic and like going from slavery to, oh, here's my real agenda, is they have an exhibit there about trans people. Oh! Dude, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They are obsessed. Dude, she thinks about transgender existence more than trans people do. Like, literally, bro.
Do you know that when you walk in the front door,
what exactly?
the first thing you see is a gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front of you.
Yeah, I do,
What
because I don't,
exactly
because here's the
are
thing.
you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sports. It's not complex. It's basic science. That's untrue. It's XX chromosome, XY chromosome.
Oh, she literally hijacked this whole show to do her transphobic, like, dude, she is a eugenics freak, bro. Oh my God, she literally just jumped.
That's sports. Is it fair to have biological men competing against biological women in sports? No. But why is this in the Smithsonian? So it's
look.
It's been completely captured.
First of all, I don't.
And
think
it's totally partisan.
We don't. First of all, we don't have time to litigate
of
all of this.
course we don't, because then you're going to lose the argument.
No.
Everything is racialized, just like you're trying to do to me now.
Excuse me.
It's like, I can't believe you're trying to suggest, that slavery is a good thing.
Dude, she is like literally playing the victim, right? She is playing the victim of like, you're trying to silence me. You're oppressing my whiteness. Like, what the fuck, dude? Wow, she is a degenerate fucking scumbag.
Brought up race.
No,
this was a conversation about the arts, and you brought up race.
It isn't.
You brought up.
But the whole point of this is that the issue
you brought up slavery, and you brought up the question of whether. You brought up the question of whether or not slavery in the United States is about race. The answer is yes.
Of course. I did not say
in the United States
don't
is
straw man
about
my argument,
race.
because that's not what I said.
What are you
She brought
talking
up
about?
slavery. And what I was talking about is that this isn't really about that. When you make every single exhibit about white imperialism when it isn't relevant at all, that is a problem.
But it's not a problem though, Jillian, because everything in America is white imperialism. It literally is the root of everything in our history. Okay? Everything in our history. White imperialism. White people came and they took the land. They extinguished the natives. They cut off their food supply. They restricted where they could be. Okay? They took all of that land. Then they farmed it and built an economy on white imperialism, on enslavement. Okay? And then they fought a war, right, to get free from England. Why? Because of white imperialism. Because England had abolished slavery. That was the revolution. They knew it was coming here too. So they decided to separate from England to make sure that they could keep their slavery going. Then they fought a civil war here, white imperialism, okay? And then the side that lost, they still made concessions to them after they lost. All right? And white imperialism. Then there were the black codes and Jim Crow, white imperialism. Then there was segregation, white imperialism. Then there was redlining, white imperialism. There is a financial center called Wall Street. That was literally the slave trading market of New York City, white imperialism. Like, my God. And now they're funding Israel, white imperialism in the Middle East. Okay? Trump, Gaza, I mean, what the fuck? White imperialism with the mass marauders grabbing everyone who's brown? White imperialism is literally all of American history. Everything we are right now is on the basis of fucking white imperialism. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.